Camera on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 94 of Rope-a-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back yet again on a Monday to review, preview, and bring you all things from the wonderful world of boxing. Usual T's and C's, guys. Obviously, if you're a regular viewer or listener, you've had a notification via your YouTube app. This is why you're here. So if anybody that's new, the little icons you see there, the subscribe, the like, the share, all that kind of jazz, just tap that now. You scratch our backs. Yeah, Dave's doing it as well. He normally does that as well. You scratch our backs and we'll scratch yours. And do the same over on the audio feeds on Spotify and Apple as well. Thank you, please. So, yeah, here we are again. We will get into boxing, but anybody that knows us, we do have a little bit of a talk, a little bit of a back and forth of what's been going on in our lives. But as you realised from last week, guys, we're not just a boxing podcast. No. We've turned into a little bit of a soap opera. So this is part 2 of what happened from last week. So anybody that remembers, Dave, you were having a lot of trouble with, I think it was Love Holidays and Ryanair. They fucked your flights up. You couldn't get to Benidorm. You was only right 2 and 8. You didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was happening. The masses didn't know what was happening. It's been a week, brother. Let us know what's happening. Part 2 of the Holiday from Hell saga.
Right. So the next day, I waited until 9 o'clock, and I was on hold for 3.5 hours to Ryanair, and they never answered. So I thought, you know what, I'll go on the old bot chat whilst I kill 2 birds with 1 stone, see which one I can get on there quicker. And I obviously didn't realise this for 3 hours. I sat on hold with that stupid tune in my office, driving everyone in my office mad with a weird jingle that kept going repeating.
Last week I asked you to hum it. So you've had 3 hours of it this week. Are you going to hum it for me and the masses, or it must be...
Anyway, it took me 3 hours to realise that they probably were never going to answer, especially as when it said, I'm in a queue that lasts 5 minutes. But you know what I'm like, I'm stubborn as fuck, and I wanted to speak to someone, so I held on. Turns out I got through to an agent on the bot thing, on the chat of Ryanair's website within 10 minutes. And then they're crafty fuckers. Right? So they said they were going to charge me to change the flight. But I was already prepared. I had all the flights that I wanted written down and everything. So I was good to go. And I went, no, I've got an email saying you'll do it for free. And I said, I want these flights. And bang, I've done the 2 sets of flights. Lee Harper's flights, by the way. Bang, they come back and went, yeah, that's all changed here, no problem. Done. So I was stressed to fuck on the Monday. And I was stressed on the Tuesday when I was on the phone. But I did deal with it pretty efficiently after 3.5 hours of waiting. So
it's a long old wait, Dave, though, isn't it? Let's be honest. Jeez, mate.
And
you're supposed to be at work as well, by the way, and doing research for your boxing podcast. So
I was doing all of it. I had the phone on loudspeaker, which is why I was driving everyone mad. Like I was relentless with it. So I was at my desk with that tune playing, and I was just on the computer, and I had meetings and everything while this was going on. But but then I spoke to the geezer who's organised it for Lee, Gary, and he sent over a number for Ryanair that I didn't ring. I got this number off Ryanair's website, so I don't know if I was ringing a moody number or something. But I would presume no one would wait 3 hours like I would.
No way.
So you'd never know. But anyway, it's all sorted. I've got to give Adam Miller shot. We was looking at different flights, and we're going to be 90 quid. Well, by the time I'd finished sending the message, Moneybags Miller sent 90 quid over to me. So he's got to get refunded because the flights were actually free to change. Now, I could have been a horrible friend and took the 90 quid, but I have got to give it back to him. So if he's listening to this, and then, you know what? I haven't told him this yet, Graham. So let's check if he listens to the pod.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pay him his 90 quid until I know he's heard this.
We won't say nothing to him.
Yeah. Let's see if he listens, because if he does, he knows he's got 90 quid coming back to him.
And what about the other fella, the guy that's probably going to be looking for museums and cafes and art galleries?
You know what? I've got an earlier flight, right, than we originally had. So we're flying at 6 a.m, which means we got up at the airport at 3 a.m. He's just invited himself to stay in my house. He didn't even ask. Did you see that? He just put in the group, I'll just stay at your house that night. Yeah. I was thinking, okay, then, yeah, no worries. Like, but he didn't ask. He just put. The worst thing about it is his mum lives in White City, which is only up the road from me, and I stay there quite a lot. So,
just got that then.
Let's see if he listens now, because I'm dogging his mum on here. We can find out if 2 people are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Miller gets 90 quid and I've slated Mickey's mum. But no, yeah. So he's just invited himself to my house. So he's some boy. But anyway, the saga is now over. So until Ryanair cancel the flights again. But I know what to do now. Just go straight on the chat instead of arsing around with phone calls.
That's real life, see. You do have happy endings after all, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least that's sorted for you, mate. As you say, you never know between now and May, whenever it is, Ryanair could play a crafty again. But fingers crossed it doesn't. So yeah, anything else did you get up to at the weekend? I did message you, I think it was yesterday or Saturday, asked if you was going to watch Arsenal women.
No, this is the one because I've got the 8 games for the Emirates. So I think I'm 5 in or something like that now. But we didn't book this game because we're going to Arsenal-Chelsea this Sunday away. I've not been. Do you know what? Of all the years I've lived in West London, funny enough, I've never been to Stamford Bridge to watch a game for any type of football. So so it'll be my first time at Stamford Bridge. We'll go with Lolo and it'll be Arsenal women's versus Chelsea women's on Sunday. So do you know what? As much as I like Meadow Park and it's old school and it's all stand and all that, this weather, in the pissing rain and that, and I'm 42 this year. I need to sit down.
Yeah, you said that before. Well,
I can't stand up in that anymore. I know you do it because you do it at Stourbridge, but
not this week. Not this week. I was in your camp this week. I know you said you got tickets for the Emirates and stuff like that, and obviously I go and watch Stourbridge most weeks. I didn't go this week. I had a couple of things on. It was absolutely freezing. I know it's proper January weather. I know we're being very British guys talking about the weather, but it's absolutely it's taters up here in the West Midlands. Further north you go, the worse it gets. So I feel sorry for those poor buggers in Scotland. But yeah, it's freezing. I didn't go. They played against Wolves, sort of like second or third in the table, whatever they are. And they got a hammered 7-2. Also, my boy played football on the Sunday. They got beat. And my daughter's team played on the Saturday and they got beat. So football-wise, mate, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I stayed at home and done a Keith Floyd impression. I had my mum and dad round. I cooked a roast dinner for 6 of us. And when I say my Keith Floyd impression, ladies and gentlemen, anybody that doesn't know Keith Floyd, he does a lot of cooking. Well, he used to do a lot of cooking. God rest his soul. He's passed away now, but he always had a couple of bottles of wine on the go, didn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he was on the pitch. Yeah,
he got pissed. So basically, what I was doing, I didn't burn the chicken or the spuds, mate. It came out okay. But yeah, I managed to go to bed at a later time on Sunday. But you know, that's my weekend. Dave's stories are much more interesting than mine. Mine just involved drink and sleep. To
be fair, I've got nothing interesting this weekend. I didn't do a lot. I didn't drink this weekend. I just, you know what, I done my back. I know that was another EastEnders saga. I done my back, stripping the paint off the stairs. Yeah, well, okay. I've eventually my back's all right now. So I was actually sanding the stairs at the weekend, ready to repaint. So I was boring as shit this weekend. So I've not got a lot to say about it. But what I have got to say I've got a little bit of rant. You know, we love Uncle Turkey on here. I'm upset with him.
He's going straight in. He's not waiting for the news. He's not waiting for any segments. You must be pissed off because you're going straight in on our brother. Well, I don't know what you're going to have a rant about. Go on, enlighten us. Fucking hell.
You know this Ring magazine business that he's doing now, and you can get the magazines sent to your house and all that, right? Yeah. So you can get 12 editions of the new magazine to come every month and whatnot. And the Bivol Baturbiev one's the new one out. I've seen some covers for it. Anyway, so I said to Alv, I said, listen, I might get you that. I said, would you want it? I said, things you can keep and all that. He went, yeah. Gone on there. It was 60 quid, which is still steep, but 60 quid for 12 magazines to come monthly to your house, right?
Yeah.
Not a bother. So I've gone in, I've put all my details in, but gone to do it. They want £96 for delivery.
Yeah.
100.
Where's it coming from? The States,
100. What? I don't know. It must be coming from Saudi. But 100. They want £96 just to deliver them. So now I'm not getting them. I'm not paying, like I say, 60 quid. I thought was a bit, you know. I mean, I get the cheap tickets to go to like AJ's and stuff like that. You know, I'll sit in the highest seat, so I've got no standards but like 60 quid, you know, I thought was okay. But to pay £96 postage and packaging, I had the ump. I had the ump about that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I know wherever it's coming from or whatever, you know, they're probably paying that. But now I'm not. He's lost out now. Not that he cares about 160 quid, but. But I couldn't believe that the postage and packaging was worth more than the subscription. So yeah, that's my rant.
Can't you pop down to W.H. Smith's and pick up a copy, no? Or John Menzies?
Do you know what? After you said that to me about it, like when we said about the Ring magazine the other day, I did actually look to see if it was in the shops.
No luck.
No, but I can't believe that. So it's gone from 100 for 60 quid to 156 quid. Now that's a massive difference in me wanting that magazine and not wanting it. Like,
yeah.
So he'll put pay-per-view cards for 19 quid.
Yeah.
And he wants to charge me 96 quid for fucking postage and packaging. We've got a problem here.
It's a bit odd because he doesn't normally rob the poor, does he? To give to the rich, he's the other way. He's more like Robin Hood, the other way around. But it's saying that magazines are on the decline as well, and the printing services, obviously with the newspapers and that, they're getting less and less. Nobody's reading them. You think I haven't got a problem with the price of the magazine, like you said, but to charge somebody that for postage and packaging, that costs more than the actual magazine subscription itself. It's a bit scandalous. Well, it is scandalous.
I think you can buy them singly if you want. Then it'd be 9 quid for postage and packaging. But
that's still got to work out dearer, though, doesn't it? Singly,
exactly. Yeah. So
I'm not
happy. I'm not fucking happy about it because, like I say, I would have liked to. I reckon them Ring magazines would be decent. You can subscribe and get it digitally on your phone.
It's not the same, is it?
It ain't the same. I don't want it. It's £3 an episode, £3 a magazine or something. I don't want it on my fucking phone. I want to have it in front of me, like.
Yeah. Put it in a binder and look after it because it's like the new era, isn't it, of the Ring magazine? So you're starting off the new era, looking after the mags and collecting them. But
so me and him have got beef at the minute about this.
Hopefully he replies, mate. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he's an avid listener of Rope-a-Dope Boxing. So you never know.
Turkey, sort out the postage and packaging, mate, and I'll be a subscriber. Oh, another thing as well.
He's on a roll.
Load of shit as well. Every time I've signed up to the app, and it keeps putting me through to my email to verify my thing, and then it's just putting me back and forth.
Who's this? What's this?
The Ring magazine app, right?
Magazine.
Yeah, so you can sign into it. So you've got like a login or whatnot, but that ain't working. So again, that's giving me the arse. I don't know what difference it makes. I can still see what's on the app, but it was just annoying me. It kept putting me through to my email to verify, and I'd verify it, and it put me back to the app, and it makes me do it again. So I gave up.
It's the Ryanair. The Ring magazine is the Ryanair of the boxing world.
It is. But you know what? It has got some good stuff on there. It's got all the rankings. And as much as he wants to do away with the belts, you can go on there and see all the champions and the rankings for each belt. So and at each weight. So there's a bit of information on there. But I suppose it's teething problems. Hopefully, he'll sort it out. But that's my rant for him. And I don't usually go after him, but they give me the arse.
You don't. We don't leave anybody out here. If you've got a problem with someone, we'll fucking say it. And obviously, Uncle Turkey is the face of boxing, and you've literally just called him out, mate.
Yeah.
So we don't talk bullshit on here. But what we do talk about is boxing. And we jump into the boxing. Like we said last week, there wasn't anything going on. There was a misfit show, which I'm sure Dave will elaborate on right at the end of the show for what it's worth.
You'll be surprised. I actually will.
I will be surprised if you indulge in that, son. But we get to that. We get to that later. We talk Friday nights, early hours Saturday morning for us here in the UK. 2 featherweights will go into war over 10 rounds. Omar Trinidad and Mike Plania at the Commerce Casino in LA. So we said last week, guys, we hadn't seen much of these two boys. Plania had more wins on his CV. He was the one with the experience. He'd been in with bigger names. Trinidad was a kind of a prospect, if you like, stepping up in opposition. He was ranked number 3 with a couple of the governing bodies. 2 completely different styles. You had Trinidad, who's a very busy fighter, big output, lots of volume. Plania seems to be, from what we saw going into this fight, he seems to think about his work a bit more, picks his shots, times his shots a bit better, had more of the one-punch power. We said it'd be a decent fight. For what it was worth for the two fights at the weekend, it was a good fight, and I did enjoy it. We saw Trinidad pick up the win day by unanimous decision, 100-90 twice, and I think it was 99-91 on the other scorecard. Didn't have a problem with the scores whatsoever. But if you didn't watch the fight and you just go and have a look at the scores, you think it was a complete shutout. And as I just said there, mate, I did agree with the scores. However, Plania was in the fight every single round, but he just didn't do enough for me. He just didn't do enough. He was just looking for that single shot. He was busy, but he was coming in too fast. It was a bit Pacquiao-esque. He was jumping in a lot and missing. Trinidad wasn't the fighter we saw in the highlights. I expected to be on the front foot straight away, but his ring IQ and his generalship, mate, how he used his feet, how he navigated it. He was using the triple jab and he was using the backhand right. Very clever, good ring IQ, good generalship, and that's what won him the fight for me, mate. But all in all, I thought it was a decent performance from Omar Trinidad.
Yeah, I thought it was. I wanted to see him step on the gas, go through the gears later in the round. For me, the fight was won, and it's almost like he coasted to it. He had worked him out from round one, which surprised me because I always knew that Plania was going to take centre of the ring and try and catch him with one shot. But I thought that Trinidad would go on the front foot because looking at the footage before that, he's a front-footed fighter, pushes guys back, throws lots of shots. But he was very calculated. Yeah, he was very calculated in what he done, patient in what he done. So I don't know whether that's something that he's working on to have different facets to his game, whether he can put it on him if he wants to, or he can box on the back foot. But he was waiting for Plania to throw that one shot, then he was hitting him with 2s and 3s. And that was what was winning the rounds because it was the output that was the difference. Size had a thing to do as well. He was a lot bigger, a lot rangier. So like what you said there about Plania having to sort of fall in, he sort of had to do that because he didn't have the same size levers or, so he was always having to force the fight and obviously having to sort of lunge. And in that
lunge,
he was catching shots on the way in. But there was moments in the later rounds where Trinidad went on the front foot, and that's where I like him. I prefer him to be that. And I did think that if he approached the fight like that, he probably would have got the stoppage. But he was quite happy to win the fight on points, but I looked at it. I mean, it was a good enough fight for me. He won every round based on the amount of punches that he threw compared to Plania. Plania was looking for the one shot all night, didn't change it up. I would like him to put his foot on the gas. He did in round 10. In round 10, he threw a couple of good shots, Trinidad, and pushed him back. And I thought this is a Trinidad that we'd watched previously. But I would like to have in the mid to late rounds, maybe put his foot on the gas, showed the gear change, and went for the stoppage. But for me, he was happy to coast to a points win. So yeah, that's basically how I saw it, mate. It was a decent enough fight. He proved to be a level above Plania, a couple of levels above. And like I say, I would like to see him in now with a genuine sort of guy, like a fringe level guy, someone that's going to come to win. Plania was like I say, he was quite happy to stand centre of the ring and throw the odd shot here and there, but it wasn't enough. So, he didn't change it up for me. I want someone that's willing to come and win and try and push Trinidad back, and it's a bit of a back and forth. Someone that's coming to win. For me, Plania didn't really offer that. Like I say, it wasn't the worst performance from Plania, but Plania didn't seem to have a plan B. Like that. You could see he was being outscored, he was being outfought, and he just stuck to that. Now, yes, from the untrained eye, it would look like he's pressing the fight, but Trinidad was quite happy to work on the back foot because he had the levers. So the minute that Plania lunged in, he could tag him with 2-3 shots and step away. So it was
used his attributes well, didn't he?
He did. He made it look really easy. He made it look really easy, which is for me the reason why he sort of coasted it, because he was not really in any sort of danger. But he did show more to his game for me. Like we talk about here, like being with these front-footed fighters, when always the key is to push them back, and let's see how they are on the back foot. Like in Billy and all these type of guys, because they're all sort of front-footed fighters. And we don't think that they'd be as good on the back foot, but I think he used this bout to show that he can box at range. He can box on the back foot. Time Plania coming in, and showed something else to his game, which is what you need to be an all-round fighter. So I think he's ready for a step up. How far he goes, I don't know. Like I say, the only criticism I would say is that I'd like to see the gear changes through the fight. And take him out. Now that would have been impressive. Started the way he did on the back foot, but when he wanted to put his foot on the gas and stop the guy, he can. He can stop the fight at any moment. And that's the only thing I didn't see. That doesn't mean he couldn't do it. It just means that he did. For me, he just didn't want to. He became comfortable in the fight. That's how I felt.
Yeah. No, I agree, mate. For when I said my opening gambit there, that the scorecards were correct, I haven't got any problem. And it was a bit more, I find it, you said he was coasting, and it was quite easy for him. I totally get it. But in those rounds as well, what I meant by a little bit more competitive, Plania didn't come to survive. He did come to win. You know, he was game at each and every round, but he said he didn't have a game plan B, a game plan C, didn't mix it up or anything. But what I did notice in that, you spoke about Trinidad stepping on the gas. And when he did step on the gas, if you notice, because he was stepping up in opposition in Plania, there was jeopardy there because of what we've seen with Plania in the past with his one-punch power, and he does throw back. So every time Plania was trying to throw back, he would kind of take a step back with his feet, would pivot a little bit back and tuck up. Very clever. I said that the ring IQ and the generalship was what won him the fight as well. You're right. He was a level above him. And we go into the next kind of conversation now about where does he go next. He's the WBC Continental Americas champion. Yes, it's a bullshit belt. It's a ranking belt. But at the moment, he stands at number 6 in the WBC. He's paying his sanction and fees. He's doing it all by the book. Good luck to him. But you've got now, obviously, I put there for audio listeners I can't see, I put, can Trinidad mix it with the big boys? So he's unbeaten. He's got Shushu Carrington, and he's got Stephen Fulton in front of him at 2 and 3. He's won on Friday night. So when the rankings get tossed about a bit, next month, possibly he might go up to number 4 or number 3. Now, the question for you, well, for both of us, mate, is if there was some sort of eliminator, which meant Omar Trinidad goes into a fight for an eliminator for the WBC title, because this is the WBC rankings, and he gets a fight against a Stephen Fulton or a Shushu Carrington, from what you saw on Friday night, mate, does he have enough to mix it with those kind of boys? Because he did get caught with a couple of shots. Yeah. The silly shots didn't hurt him, wasn't buzzed, but he did get caught. But this is Mike Plania, a guy that's not ranked with any of the sanctioning bodies, going into guys that are the future of boxing. Obviously, Stephen Fulton's coming up, very slick operator. He's not a big puncher, but Shushu's a different level. 2 different styles of boxing. But original question, mate, do you think he could hold his own, or do you think he gets schooled to death, or do you think he gets knocked out? I know it's an if, but and maybe. From what you saw on Friday night, is there a chance Trinidad could kick on now and go and win a world title, mate?
I think he can mix it with them, but do I think he beats them convincingly? I'm unsure. I think he belongs there. I like the Stephen Fulton fight. I think that's winnable for him. Shushu has had a couple of performances last year. I think he needs a big year. I think for Omar Trinidad for that fight, maybe I think that might be like a unification if it ever got to that before that fight sort of happens. I like the Fulton fight for him. I think that could be a good fight for him for the way that Stephen Fulton fights. Yes, he's very slick in that, but Trinidad is a front-footed fighter, so he'd cut off the ring, throws lots of shots. I don't know how Stephen Fulton deals with that. I feel that might be winnable. But do I look at Omar Trinidad and think, yes, he's up there, he beats all these guys? I'm unsure. I haven't seen enough of him. He hasn't done enough for me to tell, yes, Omar Trinidad is the next big thing at this weight.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. No, not at all.
No, but like I say, there's again, when I keep saying about gear changes, do I think he could go up in the gears in that fight? I do. And if he showed that, we might be having a different conversation. It's just the fact that he didn't. So has he got the attributes to mix it with these boys? I think he has. He's got the engine for starters. He throws a lovely combinations. He's got a good work rate, and he can box on the back foot. He's proved that. So does he have the attributes to do it? Yes. But I'm unsure that he can beat the top guys in this division at this stage. But if his name gets announced against any of these guys, I'd be up for them fights. I'd be interested. This would intrigue me. He's the sort of fighter that intrigues me because I look at him and I think, especially in the clips that we'd seen prior to this, where he was on the front foot, he looked exciting, explosive, and very good shots and stuff. And then he's shown in this fight that he's quite happy to box on the back foot. So he's showing different things. Game plans are a massive thing as well. If he can go in against these guys and get the game plan wrong and look awful. But I like the front-footed fighter in Omar Trinidad. So, again, to answer your better question, I do believe he can mix it. I'm yet to know whether he can win it.
Yeah, whether he wins is another question.
But I'm intrigued to see how he would get on against these guys. So if his fight gets announced with any of these guys, I like the Stephen Fulton fight. I feel that one might be winnable with him. Shushu, for me, Shushu is blowing hot and cold for me at the moment. It was a big bit of hype around his name, and the talk of him, and rightly so. He's a brilliant boxer. So if Trinidad versus, I'd be all over that for Shushu and him. Yeah. I am interested and intrigued to see where he goes next, and I'll be I'm definitely want to carry on following his journey.
Definitely. The WBO champion, mate, was in the crowd having a nosy at Trinidad. Same height, same reach, etc. Rafael Espinosa is the guy I'm talking about. He come have a nosy. Didn't seem interested for what I saw, mate. He's on about unifying the division.
Yeah.
So he doesn't look like he's struggling to make the weight, mate. He's happy to stand there and go for the likes of Brandon Figueroa and Nick Ball and a couple of the others. So, yeah. Interesting time. He's got the name anyway, hasn't he? He's got the name. He's got the Trinidad name. I know he's not in relation to Felix Trinidad. But if you can go on that sort of journey and pick up multiple belts and become a bit of a legend, good luck to him, mate.
Yep, certainly.
Undercard, co-main, Kazakhstan's Ali Akhmedov made it 7 out of 7 since his first loss of his professional career to Carlos Gongora in 2020. Took 2 rounds to dispatch of his opponent, should I say, sorry, in Malcolm Jones. Akhmedov's ranked in 2 of the governing bodies. He's ranked quite low with 2 of the governing bodies. He's had 7 fights since that Gongora loss, as I just said. The level opponent was underwhelming. It was rubbish. It was a sitting duck for Akhmedov. Didn't do anything, didn't offer anything. So my question there is to everybody, how long is the Akhmedov rebuild? Because as I just said, for the 3rd time, he's had 7 fights now, 7 club level fighters if you want, bar Gabe Rosado. And I get the Rosado thing, but Rosado's now probably choose my words carefully, Dave. I was going to say an elite journeyman. He's a journeyman now that had I think he had about 15 losses in about the age of 38 when he got in the ring with Akhmedov. So I don't take anything out of that. But what do you take out of this? Where do you go with this? It's a bit like when I was talking about Justice Hooney last week. I know they're on different kind of paths, but this level opponent for somebody that's on a rebuild, and after 7 fights, Dave, we need somebody that's going to ask him some questions. We need somebody that's going to throw back. We need somebody that's going to do something to put him on his arse, so he's learning something and comes back and redusts himself down. I know he had the Gongora fight, that was years ago now, but this is even though this was the first time we've watched Akhmedov properly, even though the performance was 5-star, he done exactly what he said on the tin, go in there, destroy him and knock him out and stop him. He doesn't learn anything from this. We don't learn anything from this. I can't put his name up in lights because I still don't know where Akhmedov is level or ability-wise, Dave. It's a hard one to pick out this.
Yeah, like this fight it does nothing for anyone. Like I say, even for him, it's not even a confidence builder anymore when you've had 7 fights like he's just had. Yes, he looked okay. But there weren't enough. You didn't see enough of him. It was over in a flash. Malcolm Jones offered nothing, stood on the ropes and got stopped by the referee. And he complained, but the writing was on the wall. His legs went like jelly when he got hit with 1 shot. Yeah. Like I say, like you said, you come away with no new knowledge on Akhmedov. So
next. This is the problem. So you're going to go. Right, he's going to stay busy, hopefully, this year, like all boxers, 3 or 4 fights a year. Great. Well locked into that. Let's get busy, get paid, get boxing. But if you're going to give him someone of this level, a club level fighter, a C level fighter, what's the point? No. I don't get what the point is, unless you're just happy to plod along and pick up a wage packet, go back in the gym, and then get your next fight announced. I don't know. So, mate, sorry to take you off there, but it's a little bit frustrating because this guy's supposed to have talent, and it was a major setback when he lost to Gongora, and now he's on this rebuild. But the rebuild, he's not stepping up in competition. In fact, he's gone back since Rosado.
Yeah, but this is the problem. You say keep him busy, and that's one thing, and it's correct. But at the same time, if you're not in with any type of opponent, by the time you do get a shot, you haven't had that in between, that step, gradual steps to get into the level that you want to be fighting at. Yeah. Now, if you're taking this as a confidence build against Malcolm Jones and thinking, right, I'm back, I've got this power, against someone like you said as a C level, when you do go in with someone who's got a little bit about them, you get found out because you haven't rebuilded in the steps that you should do. So if he's, I don't know where he's going to go next, but if he jumps in with someone half decent, it could be a step too far because of what you've done leading up to this. You need to build, which we speak about with Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard's the same. He goes in with Latvian Vinman, and then he's in with Peterbiev.
With the elite,
and don't get me wrong, Yard, held his own for however long they lasted, but you need to build it correctly. And if it is a rebuild, then the step up in class should be after every single fight. This, like you said, there 7 fights, and then you're fighting this guy. It's ridiculous. It does nothing for you. It does absolutely nothing but to get you paid. And what is your desire? What is his desire? Is his desire to go on and win a world title or do whatever, or is it to be to be paid, because when you're fighting guys like this, it makes me unsure, and it really does, because this does nothing for him. This does absolutely nothing for him. He can't be happy with that matchmaking if he has aspirations to go on and win meaningful titles. For me,
yeah, I was just thinking about the guy we spoke about last week, Callum Simpson. Same weight, 1685 to super middleweight, same division, ranked around about the same, 11 and 12. Imagine putting them two together. We know a bit more about Simpson, obviously, but that would be a bit more of a test for him. I'm not saying that fight should be next. Obviously, they're already going in two different directions. Callum Simpson obviously doing the British thing, wanting to go European. But obviously, imagine putting Akhmedov in with Simpson. That would be a good test for both of them to see exactly where they are, But you're right, these sort of opponents don't do anything for him, and it's a shame. Hopefully, we see him again soon. He should be out again soon, depending on what his management team and his promotion do, because there's not a scratch on him. But hopefully it's a step up from a Malcolm Jones, But hey-ho, it is what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was all we had at the weekend. So I normally ask Dave performance of the weekend. So there's not a lot to choose from, but I think it might be quite obvious, Dave, which way you're going, mate.
Yeah, Omar Trinidad.
Yeah, has to be.
What it is, yeah.
Has to be. So, yeah, that was that. Usual segments now, ladies and gentlemen. The De La Hoya Hunt update. What's the latest? What's going on in the world of Mr. Holland chasing Mr. De La Hoya, mate? Anything?
So, yeah, we put out one tweet since last week. So, obviously, I said that on last week's show that he must have seen my tweet, because he put out, yes, I'm back with, I'm back with the old Clapback Thursday. Pete was on me for that and all that sort. Anyway, he sent one tweet out this week, and it is saying how epic this Thursday's Clapback Thursday is going to be. But he didn't let anyone comment.
Yeah.
So so that is as far as the update is. Hopefully he sticks to his word, and there's one out this Thursday. If there is, I will obviously share it, comment on it, and see how we go. But Mr. De La Hoya has been very quiet this week. So there's one tweet. He's messing with me, because obviously it was my tweet that he'd read and he responded to without obviously following me or anything. And now he's sort of dangling carrots in front of me. So that is the De La Hoya update as I can give it to you this week, mate. Not a lot to go on, but you know what? Talking of chasing people, Bacoli's getting fucking active now.
I'm just going to say that he's tweeting in English as well.
He is. So Bacoli's always there anyway.
You only parked him. It's the original. The original was Michael Hunter hunted, and you got that. You locked that in. He's one of your friends now. He's one of your pals. Bacoli was the next one, but we parked it because he was tweeting in his language, so he couldn't understand a word. He went away after that massive win against Jared Anderson. He didn't want to talk to anyone. Now he's tweeting in English. Now he's active. Now he's available. He's back on your radar, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say because De La Hoya only sort of tweets when he's got something to sell. He's like one tweet a week. But so I'm gonna dip back into Bacoli, because Bacoli's active, especially with this AJ Africa stuff. Billy Nelson did a quick Twitter, and he comments on absolutely everyone that speaks about the Bacoli. So so I'll have an Avid Merriam sort of stalking sort of thing going on with So I'll bring Bacoli back to the table if he's active, just while De La Hoya's quiet.
Fair enough. Yeah, I did put that in my notes, mate, about Bacoli. He's been very active since you've left him alone. Maybe he's trying to tell you something,
I know. I'm sad as I am. So, and then for this week, it's David McDonald and the Dongs. I'm going to go dark here, people.
Time for that.
So, it's a lot of this news this week is all sort of rumours, because there's nothing concrete. But the first piece I've got them since the news from last week is Eubank Ben is done. Mr. Al Sheikh has confirmed that the long-awaited Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Ben fight is done for April in London. Date and location to be announced, but rumoured to be April 26 at Tottenham Hotspur's Stadium. That's back in our lives. Looks like it's a done deal, mate. Will you watch it? Of
course. I've got both professional boxers. Just because we don't like the sort of weight that the weight, the 2 weight gap, and now there's a rehydration clause and all bits and bats like that. I haven't got a problem with the 2 professional boxers going at it. Obviously, Conor Ben's had his problems, and people sort of question Chris Eubank's sort of legacy that he claims to have and things like that about not fighting for world titles. I haven't got a problem with them 2 going at it. There's a problem with the weight, the weight difference. Same with, like, I'm guessing in your news you're gonna mention Canelo and Crawford. That seems to be getting closer and closer. That again is a 2 or 3 weight difference. So of course I'm going to watch it. I didn't watch that nonsense from the weekend, and when it comes under Misfits and X series and bits and bats like that. But of course I'll watch it. Is it a fight we all want to see? As a boxing fan, no, it's not. Is it a big fight in terms of commercial value? 100%. That will sell out, because that's even bigger than it was the first time. We knew we was going to get it, and it's because of what's happened with Conor Benn and the drug cheating thing, with the failed tests, and everybody's uncle and nan and cousin who didn't follow boxing now knows the name Conor Benn. It does make it commercially bigger. Is it a good fight stylistically? Possibly. Does the weight make a difference? Of course it does. There's weight divisions for a reason. But yeah, the original question, mate. Of course we're going to review. We're going to preview it as well, and obviously on fight week. But if it does happen, we'll give our predictions, who we think wins and why. But yeah, I haven't got a massive problem, because let's be honest, Dave, we all knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. Once that ban for, the shadow ban, for whatever you want to call it, once that was ended, it was only a matter of time before it was made.
Yeah, like I say, Alfie's keen on it. He keeps mentioning it to me, so I might try and get tickets for it for him. But we'll see near at a time when it gets announced.
Guaranteed to be cheaper than the UFC tickets. That's a fact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
even for fucking row A, not row Z.
Yeah, correct. Sam Goodman requests the WBO mandatory position to be upheld. Sam Goodman has now officially requested the WBO that his mandatory challenger status for Naoya Inoue super bantamweight title is upheld after he was forced to withdraw from the fight twice due to injury. Thoughts on this? Because, I mean, you see the cut's genuine.
Yeah, didn't we speak about this last week?
We spoke about the fact that he had been cut, but we didn't. But this is new news. The fact that he has asked the WBO to keep his mandatory status instead of losing it. Yeah, so the only thing is, I'm not a massive fan of the fight, as much as most people not really asked, because they think that Inoue would go through him. But at the same time, people work hard to get to these positions, and it's not as if it's like
it's a genuine injury. That's what you're saying.
It's not like it's a moody injury. I've seen the cut, and it's not the same cut as the one before. It was a naughty cut under the eyelid.
It's Tyson. It's massive. It's a big cut. That's going to take a while to heal, Dave. Inoue will probably have 2 fights by the time that heals.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he's an active champion. But yeah, have I got a problem with it? No, you've probably nailed it, because he's paying his sanctioning fees, and he's beating what's put in front of him, and he has got himself into the #1 contender shot. I don't hold anything against him. Is it a fight we want to see? The boxing, of course, it's not. There's only 2 fights. I think I can speak for me, you, and a lot of the boxing fans. MJ and Nakatani. Anyone else is rubbish. I'm going to get into Inoue in a bit when we do our previews and predictions, because that's awful. But yeah, mate. Do I hold anything against him? No. Do I want to see it? Not really. Will we watch it? 100%, because we fucking love boxing. But that's what it's made, man. He's pulled out twice before through injuries. When he gets, you've got to go back into sparring when you're preparing for a monster like Inoue. What happens if the cut opens again? How long will the WBO keep going? Hopefully it doesn't happen to Sam Goodman again, but stranger things happen to see,
Exactly it, mate. Exactly it. Right. Ryan Garcia confirms Pitbull Isaac Cruz is next in May in Times Square. While the Devin Haney rematch will be contested at 147, Garcia Pitbull will be fought at 144 catch weight. Thoughts?
Big fight when it comes to the Latino crowd, mate.
Yeah.
Mexico heritage versus the Mexican himself. Catch weight. Ryan Garcia's up and down in weight, isn't he? Obviously, the drugs ban, whatever you want to call it, for 6 months is a bit of a joke. But it's what it is. That was the ban that was issued to him. I think it's a good fight. Fight. I don't have nothing against Ryan Garcia. He's a character. He says silly things he shouldn't say. People are talking about him. He can box. He can punch. I've never had a problem with Conor Benn. No. But when you piss hot twice and he's gone and admitted what he done and things like that, he kind of, he shouldn't really be in the sport, but he is in the sport. And obviously Pitbull, we saw lose to Venezuela back in Saudi last year. He's an exciting fighter. Head down, swings like fuck. Strong, powerful, never gives up. I think it's a good fight. I've got nothing against the fight, mate. I'll be looking forward to watching it, to be honest. If it's at catch weight, it won't be for any belts. It'll just be a bit of Latino pride. I'm expecting a bit of a dog war, mate. Yeah, I like it, Dave. I do like it. I've got to admit.
I think fair play to listen. I say fair play. Obviously, we know what's gone on with him, but he could have took an easier fight in his comeback. Like say what you want, whether it's a shadow ban or what. He hasn't fought for a very long time. It's got to be over a year, isn't it? Since the Haney.
No, I think was it around about May? Was it May, April, May time, Dave? Or
Yeah,
definitely last year. I know that.
Like I say, he's not been. I don't know whether he's living a life or not, but he could have took an easier, say, comeback fight than Pitbull Cruz. But then on the flip side of that, is Pitbull Cruz, the way he goes forward, is he tailor made for a left hook from Ryan Garcia to walk straight onto one.
But give Ryan Garcia respect in that sense, because he's not taking shit fights, he's not taking shit opponents, he's not taking club level opponents, he's not taking C-level opponents. He's fighting world champions. He's fighting the best, if you like. So yeah, fair fucks, man. I think it's good. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm into that. Yeah, I'm I'm looking forward to that. Should it be made? I think it's a good fight. I think it's the right fight, and I think the styles are good, because Pitbull Cruz is going to go straight at him, and I think that'll do wonders for Garcia. He's going to be under fire, and I think it makes for a good Mexican fight.
Yeah.
All right. Teofimo Lopez has said that talks are ongoing for him to face Richardson Hitchens next in a WBO IBF super lightweight title unification. Lopez is planned to face Jaron Boots Ennis in October on the Garcia Haney 2 card if he wins.
Haney, so Ryan Garcia is fighting Devin Haney irrelevant then if he beats Pitbull Cruz or not. So yeah, and that would be for a title as well, mate, because obviously Devin Haney is champion in recess, and I think Sander Martin's going against the current champion Pulo. But yeah, I'm sort of jumping the gun a little bit there. But Richardson Hitchens. I'll counteract that with a question to you, mate. You talk about Teofimo Lopez when he fights people that are not sort of credible opponents. He can't get up for it. Richardson Hitchens is a world champion.
Yeah.
Does he get himself up to face Hitchens?
I think he does. But the fact, if Hitchens doesn't come in with a belt, maybe not. Maybe he takes him lightly because he thinks, who's this up and coming guy? He doesn't deserve to be in there with me, and he may still think that. But the fact that he's coming in with a belt,
great performance against Liam Parrow, by the way.
Yeah, I think he comes in switched on, and I switched on Teofimo Lopez. I can get on with. I'm very hit and miss with Teofimo Lopez. I like when he's on form and he's on fire. I like him. He's got skills, but the bullshit on the outside of the ring I'm not really into, and the fact that he does not get up for fights that he can't be arsed with. So a switched on Lopez is a great fighter for me, and this is another style. This is a stylistic fight this year. It's a game plan sort of fight for me. This one, who has the best game plan in this fight wins.
Yeah, I was just thinking there, mate. No, you're right. I was just thinking. So if that fight is next, and it is to be made next, the unification fight, what happened to Jack Catterall getting his world title shot against Teofimo Lopez for the WBO? Because he might lose that. He might lose that video, and Richardson Hitchens goes off with 2 belts. Got no interest in fighting Jack Catterall. You see where I'm going with it?
Yeah.
Are we talking another eliminator for Jack Catterall?
Yeah.
Fuck, mate. I'll have me moan and groan when that fight happens in a few weeks, mate. But yeah. Yes, that's what I like to see anyway. Irrelevant who the champions are, get those belts together, get them unified, get them undisputed, and hopefully Uncle Turkey will fuck them off. But yeah, a good fight, and I think he will get up for it. Like I just said there, mate, as a caveat, the performance from Richardson Hitchens against Liam Parrow turned out to be, I wouldn't say so much as a masterclass, but he beat him in the end by quite a distance.
Yeah.
I mean, coming off that, Teofimo Lopez knows he's going to have to be switched on because Richardson Hitchens can fucking box. He may not be the biggest in the world. He may not be aggressive and brutal, but he can fucking box, and he'll run around you if he has to. And Teofimo Lopez has to be on his A game. So again, 2 completely different styles, but could end up being a good matchup, mate. But depends if it's made. Like you just said there at the beginning, it's all rumor mill at the moment, but I have seen that floated about as well, mate. Yeah,
it's this week. It is. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes this week. But I'll put it out there. And to say what you said earlier, there's no Crawford Canelo news in this. I know that it's been muted for this year, and there's been Uncle Turkey's involved, but I've sort of steered away from it because it was mentioned so many times last year that I'm waiting for something concrete.
Yeah.
Right, this is not a bad one. Jared Boots Ennis and Staniosis' teams are closing on a deal for the WBA IBF welterweight title unification bout that could take place in April on Matchroom Boxing / DAZN.
Yeah.
Boots Ennis needs a performance Needs a performance because it wasn't great last time, and his stock has definitely slipped. And Staniosis will bring it. So, and it might bring the best out in Boots. It might be a blessing in disguise. But Boots needs a performance because at the minute, the fighter that for me that Eddie has signed is not the fighter that he was promised.
It's the best fight at 147. We had a moan and a groan not so long ago when Boots Ennis turned down the Virgil Ortiz Jr. fight.
Yeah.
The weight above 154. When he stated on national TV that he couldn't make 147 anymore, so he was going up to 154. Got the chance to win the biggest payday of his career, and turned it down. Very strange, but it looks like he's sticking to his guns. He's staying at 147. He's looking to unify the titles. It's a poor division since Terence Crawford's left, and we don't know what's happening with Errol Spence. But that's the best fight to make in the division. And again, we just spoke about Teofimo Lopez. Staniosis is no joke. He's a champion for a reason. So he's going to have to be switched on. And you're right, that performance against Karen last time out, it was rubbish. Yes, he got the job done, but you're right again, mate. The fighter he signed from Al Heyman for PBC, this big superstar, he talks brash, he looks brash, he's got good support at Philly behind him, everything that goes along with it. He didn't look great. And it's not the fighter Eddie was expecting just yet. So this is, again, hopefully the fight gets made. Unification, 2 belts coming together, 2 of the best in the division. I hope Boots delivers. I haven't got a dog in the fight, I've got to be honest, mate.
No.
I just hope it delivers. And I think it will. Both come with their A game. Both put on a great show for the fans. Both show the number 1 in the division is. So again, rumour mill, once again, I've seen it like you. Fingers crossed, both these fights you just spoke about get made. But yeah, I like it, mate. Like
I say, it'd be a good year if even just for the rumours that I've just said, it needs to actually come off.
Yeah, champion versus champion. That's all we want.
Yeah.
In a 4-belt era, all we want is champion versus champion, and then one king of the castle. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to do.
Totally agree, mate. Totally agree.
It's not hard to do because since he's come on the scene, we're getting all these undisputed and unified title fights. I know money talks bullshit walks, but when the money's available, it's not hard to do.
No. Totally agree. Confirmed. Rayo Venezuela will defend his WBA super lightweight title against Gary Antoine Russell. On the Tank Davis Demond Roach undercard live on Prime Video. That's one of the Russell Jr. brothers, isn't it? One of the 10,000 they've got.
Yeah,
but that's not that. That's not a bad scrap.
That's a good fight. That is a good fight, mate. You like that Venezuela? What you saw against the
Yeah, I do like him. Yeah.
I've got to admit, Dave, I think that's the only 2 that's been announced so far. People can slag off PBC, call them a cult, they keep everything in-house. I totally get it. But sometimes when they do cards, they do put good fights. This is a good fight. I think Gary Antoine Russell Jr. Gary Russell, he's not Jr., it's Gary Russell Jr. It's so confusing, guys. There's so many of them with the same names. But this is the younger Gary Antoine Russell. I think I haven't got BoxRec in front of me, but I'm sure he's got 17 wins with 17 knockouts, and he's only lost 1 fight by a fag paper, I think. So this is a great test for the champion Venezuela. Again, good matchmaking. I like it. Anyone who poo-poos it, don't fucking watch it, but you will watch it because you want to know what Russell brings, and you want to know what Venezuela brings. Can he better his performance against Isaac Cruz? Because again, 2 different styles of fights. I like it. This is good, and this ain't even a room. This is confirmed. This one, Dave, isn't it?
Yes, it's confirmed. This one, mate. Yeah.
On the undercard of Tank against Roach, so it might end up being a better fight than Tank Roach, to be honest, Dave.
I was going to say that could end up overshadowing the main event. I like Venezuela. I liked what he done against Pitbull Cruz. Listen, Pitbull Cruz, I don't want to say one-dimensional, one-trick pony, but he uses what's good. He is, he uses what he's good at, and that is coming forward. But he was nullified by very good boxing for Venezuela for me. For me, it's going to be a good fight. That really, really good fight. Wow. And that is it for tonight and the dongs.
Never forget the dongs. Right, prediction league, ladies and gentlemen. Last week was the first time we've done our new format. We're doing it more in a football score terms rather than the massive points distance that we did it last time. So last week I won 1-0. It's 1-0 to the DG. But has Mr. Hollands, as you've got an equaliser this week. There was only 2 fights to review and preview. Let's see how we both got on. So Trinidad versus Plania. Dave went for Trinidad by KO in the 9th. I went for Plania to KO Trinidad in the 9th. Obviously, Trinidad got the result. So that's 1 point there for Dave because he got the victor and nothing for me. And obviously Akhmedov versus Jones. We both went for Akhmedov by KO. I went for, what did I put here? I went round 9, should I say, reading my scribbly writing. Dave went round 4. The Kazakh done it in 2. So there's 3 points there for Dave and just a 1 point for me. No, 3 points each, to say. Yeah, 3 points each, sorry. Yeah. So making the weekend's result, myself, 3 points. Mr. Holland, 4 points, which means Dave has equalised, making it 1-1.
3.
Well
and
done.
we're off and running.
It's 1 apiece. So, saying it's 1 apiece, we'll move into this weekend's previews and predictions. As you can see there, ladies and gentlemen, I put Naoya Inoue versus Yi Jun Kim. Friday lunchtime, Tokyo, Japan is the destination. Obviously, I mentioned Inoue there, pound for pound superstar, the monster, defends all his marbles yet again, down at 122 pounds against his Korean opponent. Now, we spoke about Sam Goodman there, and obviously he had to pull out for injuries and that kind of thing like that. Yi Jun Kim has got the call. I ranted and raved about it last week. I'm one of Inoue's biggest fans. You know, we all love Inoue. He's a pound for pound star. He's elite. He does exactly what he says on the tin. You always get yourself up for watching Inoue, Dave. This one, I can't. 90% of me can't. And to be fair, I haven't had many people moan about this. So maybe I'm in the minority because Ji Yoon Kim, right, is ranked in one governing body. I think it's the WBA or one of them. He's ranked in one governing body and he's quite low down. I think he's like 12 or 13. Now, this was an IBF mandatory and he's not ranked with the IBF. So how can you have a world title fight when you're not ranked with them? What I can put it down to is when it's an undisputed fight with the IBF and all the other sanctioning bodies, they kind of trump the IBF. So maybe because he's ranked with the WBA or the WBO, which one ever it is, that's kind of trumped it. But you're not, I know you said last week, and you're right, it was late notice and that's all they could get. I don't believe that's all they can get, mate. Because if you have a look at all those contenders, you're not telling me all those contenders that could get a free shot of 4 belts on their biggest paydays down at a lower weight, they're all busy, they're all sick, they're all ill, they don't want it. I don't believe that. And this guy's coming off 2 wins against club level fighters. And the last defeat that he had was against a journeyman. I think he's lost about 10 fights. And he got beat. So it doesn't, going into this, it doesn't look good. It looks like a cherry pick, not from Inoue, possibly not from Team Inoue, but maybe from the promotional side with Uncle Honda and Top Rank, possibly from Inoue's management team. I don't know. The positives I can take from this, Dave, I'm not selling it very well. And obviously I'm giving my reasons why, because I think it's poor matchmaking. I think it's shit matchmaking. Inoue will knock this guy out with his eyes closed. I can guarantee you that. Guarantee you that they will get a knockout. The positives are you're going to get a highlight viral moment and Inoue keeping active. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I do love the monster, but I just can't get excited. Put it this way, Dave. I can't poo-poo Canelo for fighting Jaime Munguia and fighting Edgar Berlanga, who have got a bit more credence with their resumes and their performances than this South Korean dude. I can't poo-poo Canelo and not poo-poo this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know how you feel, but I think it's just rubbish matchmaking. And I think there is opponents out there that would have taken the call. I gave an example last week. Shabazz Massoud's ranked number 3, I think, with the IBF. Where was his phone call? He's a Muslim. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He doesn't gamble. He lives the life. Where the fuck was his phone call?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I believe there is better contenders out there that would have took the call for a free shot at gold for 4 belts, including the Ring Magazine belt and their biggest payday to date. Don't get it, Dave. I just don't get it. Come on, please.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do also feel sympathise with the 2 weeks' notice. As much as you would say there is people out there would take it and they would tell you that they would, they're also they're on the flip side of that. They'll say, "Oh, well, we wasn't preparing for it." And you're right in what you say. A free shot of gold, anything can happen. It's a Rocky story. But do people actually really believe that they would take Naoya Inoue on 2 weeks' notice? I'm not sure. So I've got a little bit of sympathy. I see where you're coming from, and you would go up and ask any top fighter in the top 10.
I'll counteract that. What you said there, I'll counteract that. So if they're not going to take him on 2 weeks' notice, they're in the sport for titles. There's 5 on the line there, or you're in the sport for money as a super bantamweight. There's no money down those division. He's the cash cow, your biggest payday. If you're not in it for belts and you're not in it for money, and you're keeping yourself busy and ready and waiting for that phone call, what the fuck are you in the game for?
Yeah, exactly. But not everyone's Ishmael Davis. Not everyone's Ishmael Davis. So
that's why I find it odd. That's why I find it odd. There's 2 options. There's belts, all the belts, and there's a payday.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I mean, it's one of them ones which we'll never know because no one's ever going to come out and admit it. But yeah, I think even if they did ring around the top 10, there'd be a lot of excuses as to why that they can't do it. I believe. But I'm also with you. What I do agree with you on here is that the fact that it's going to be a viral moment, it's going to be a knockout. I think everyone can agree on that. It's just basically picking what round. Yeah. On the positive side, we get to see Inoue again, which we love.
Yeah.
But it would have been good. It would have been good. But in saying that, we'd have been poo-pooing Sam Goodman.
Not as much as this guy.
No, not as much as this guy. But we wouldn't have given Sam Goodman a chance.
Dave, good luck to June Kim. Good luck to him. He's got the golden ticket.
Yeah.
He's stepped up. He's put his hand up. He says, "I'll have a go."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's everything. He's everything that you were saying there that the other fighters should be, if in fact they were offered.
Mate, this is why I don't believe it. This is why I just said there in my little rant. I believe there's a cherry pick. There's cherry picked opponent here. Yeah. This is a cherry picked opponent for X amount of reasons. Not Inoue, not Team Inoue. I believe the management and the promoters have picked this guy for an easy win. I don't know. It just all seems a bit fishy, a bit iffy to me. But maybe I'm in the minority because a lot of people aren't thinking like me. But if this is a credible opponent, I've got to go back and say Canelo versus Munguia is an elite chess match, which I know it's not. Maybe I'm going to get over the top with it, but I want to see Inoue in with better opponents than this. But good luck.
I totally agree, mate. I totally agree. It's very difficult to get up for this because we're not giving this man a chance. Now, you spoke about Munguia here. It'd be the biggest shock since his fight with the French fella. But if anything was to happen here, I can't see it. And like I just said there, it's about picking the round that you think that Inoue is going to detonate. And I'm going to go in first. I've got Naoya Inoue to win by vicious KO in round 2.
Yeah, I'll go 3. I'll go round 3. Yeah, there's not a lot more you can say on it, really.
No, there's not. No.
Yeah, that's Friday. That's Friday afternoon, around about lunchtime on Sky Sports for us here in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. So just watch out for that highlight reel moment. Saturday night, guys, the Cosmopolitan Chelsea Ballroom. We've mentioned that venue a couple of times over the
we have
doing that over in Las Vegas, guys. That's the destination. Star of the show, Diego Pacheco, headlines this card in the main event. As you can see there, he takes on Stephen Nelson in the super featherweight division. 22-0 now, Dave. Pacheco, 18 KOs. Big fan here on this podcast. He's learning on the job as he goes. He's getting better all the time. You see flaws in his work, comes back the next time, he's improved on them. Very exciting fighter, big puncher. When Canelo fucks off from this division, all the belts get scattered. So I believe, I said it on here before, and I stand by what I say, there will be a time when Pacheco does win one of those belts, if not all of them. I'm that high on him. I think he's a great future champion, if you like. His opponent, Stephen Nelson, Dave, he's 36 years old. He's also undefeated. He's got 20 wins and 16 knockouts. Compared to Diego Pacheco, how do I reword this now? So Stephen Nelson, I didn't know anything of him until I watched the LA card, which had Terence Crawford against Madrimov. Now, he's part of Crawford's team is still Stephen Nelson. I think he came into the game rather late. I think he had a few amateur fights, but he came in as a pro quite late. He hasn't fought anybody of any note on his resume. No. They look, again, like BC level kind of fighters. Didn't know anything about him. He was more popular for being part of Crawford's team over in Nebraska rather than, him as a boxer. And he designs all sort of wacky shorts. He'd probably have a pair on Saturday and all that comes along with that. But when we watched that fight over in LA, didn't know anything about his opponent, a tough Mexican guy that was cherry-picked for Stephen Nelson or vice versa, to come and sort of spoil the party, or if not, show how good or how bad Stephen Nelson actually is or was, And these cherry-picked Mexicans, 20-0, they're out in the villages, no one's ever heard of them, gets on the main stage, and they're normally tough. The hardest fight, you can't knock them out. They trade with you, they hook with you. They're hard to get rid of. We've seen it enough times here in the UK when Eddie Hearn brings these unknown Mexicans over to the UK and they spoil the party. Now, that night in LA, Stephen Nelson went in there and he was like a fucking bulldozer. He got rid of his Mexican opponent in 5 rounds. And I was super impressed. And I think I'm on record when we've done the preview for that card, Dave. And I did mention Steven Nelson's name, even at a late age. Watch out for this guy, because this guy could be a boogeyman, a banana skin. You know, I mentioned about his wacky shorts, but there's something about this guy. He's quite big. He's quite strong. He sits down on all his punches, and he can fucking punch. This fight at the weekend, out of all the ones we're going to preview now, this is the one I'm looking forward to most. And that sounds a bit crazy because obviously Naoya Inoue is fighting, but I've given you reasons why I can't get up for that. This is, Dave, this is a potential banana skin for Diego Pacheco. And I'm interested to see what happens when Steven Nelson does land on Pacheco, because we've seen Pacheco many times before. He does put his hands a bit low and he does get caught. But this guy does carry fucking power. Now, if he does take the power or gets down, gets knocked down and gets back up, we've seen in the past with Pacheco, mate, he goes fucking into beast mode. And he's got natural power as well. We could have a shootout here. We could have Diego Pacheco also given the performance of his career by getting knocked to the floor, getting up and beat the fuck out of Nelson. Or we could have Steven Nelson shocking the world by saying, I am the new boogeyman of this division. Where's Canelo? Give me those fucking belts. I don't know what you think, mate, but I'm going to back Pacheco, but I think it's going to be the hardest fight of his career so far. I'm really looking forward to this one. There's major jeopardy here, and I'm surprised Eddie's put them together. Maybe Eddie's changing. He is putting on better fights since he's got with Turkey. Now, a lot of people might not know about Steven Nelson, but I can guarantee you'll know about Steven Nelson after Saturday night. I think it's a great bit of matchmaking, and I can't wait for this on Saturday, Dave.
Yeah, this is going to be a good fight. This is probably the fight of the weekend. I know you're going to ask me that later, but I would say this is probably up there for the fight of the weekend. Steven Nelson is relatively unknown, especially to UK fans. But like you said there, you described him there. He's game. He can fight. He can throw. He can throw a good shot. He has power. And this is what Diego Pacheco needs. For me, at this stage of his career, you know, he looked very good in his last fight. I mean, we poo-pooed him in the fight before. You're only as good as your last fight. In his last performance, he was good. So this, for me, there's potential to be fireworks here. Like you said there, he's 36 years old, Steven Nelson. I think that might be a factor late on this in the later rounds. I think that might be the difference. I think these two are going to go at each other, throwing bombs early on. My only thing is whether Steven Nelson can keep up the pace, because like you said there, he has got power. He hasn't been with anyone of note in his resume from what I can see. But so he's going to be tested here. And I think it's a big test for both guys. I think youth in this fight may be the difference, because we know Diego Pacheco can fight like fuck, and he's got an engine, and he throws like fuck. He's got. You can
outbox Pacheco. We've seen it before. But when you piss him off, he goes into beast mode. Yeah. He switches. He throws big combinations. He's got one punch power. This is why it's such an interesting fight, because I do think Nelson will land on him.
Yeah, I think this fight is a tale of the first 5 rounds. I think these two. This is where you're going to get your fireworks. I think that if it goes late, then the ball's in Pacheco's court. But all the time, Steven Nelson is fresh and he's still carrying the power in the early rounds. I think that's when he's dangerous. So Diego Pacheco could come into the fight knowing that and box very clever in the early rounds, take it late, then step on the gas. So I'm keen to see on how this one plays out. But if he gets into a shootout and tries to be macho in the early rounds, he could come unstuck, which makes this fight very, very intriguing for me. You know what? I'm going to go for Diego Pacheco, but I'm going to go for Diego Pacheco on points. And I think it's going to be the later rounds that wins it for me. I think the younger, fresher guy that will be the difference between these two. But I think the early rounds are going to be fireworks.
Yeah. I think Steven Nelson's going to have his moments early on in the fight. I think Diego Pacheco is going to get put down, and he's going to come back to win in the late rounds as well. When you just try and picture something in your head. Steven Nelson as well. He's not. He doesn't rush his work. He's a bit of a plodder. He plods in front of you, but he picks his shots well, and he sits down and everything. And when he sits down and everything, Dave, he uses a lot of energy as well. So obviously, not going the distance with a prospect / contender, which I believe Diego Pacheco will be. No, he is a contender. I believe he's more than a prospect. He is a contender, and I believe he's the real deal. I do believe he'll become world champion. Even if he loses to Steven Nelson, I'm not one of these that jumps on and off the train. There's something about Pacheco. He's going in the right direction. He's been matched very well. He's in a test here. I do believe he gets the job done. But I believe he'll stop Nelson late. But I do believe Stephen Nelson will put him down early.
Yeah.
And how he reacts to that. Does he panic or does he even get up? I don't think he's, from what I remember, someone might correct me, from what I've seen of Stephen Nelson and then going back into the archives and watching Stephen Nelson's fights. Yes, they're not at the level of Pacheco, but this guy does carry some fucking pop. So, and Diego Pacheco, he's lethal for dropping his hands, Dave. We've seen it in the past. When he gets greedy, he does drop his hands. He's been caught a few times and whatnot, but yeah, I can't wait for this. So I'm going for Diego Pacheco to stop Stephen Nelson in a roundabout. I'm going round 10. I think this is a 12-rounders main event. I think there's probably a couple of bullshit belts involved there, but yeah, Diego Pacheco, mate, to do the job by KO. Super looking forward to that one. So there, Andy Cruz versus Omar Salido, or Salcido, however you want to pronounce it. You will recognise that the opponent's name when I explain who he is, ladies and gentlemen. But obviously, Andy Cruz, my prospect for 2024. Good to see him out so early in 2025. He didn't get enough work last year. Quite disappointed, not with him, but with the matchmaking and the activity. But Eddie's got him out on this card. I think this is a co-main event. Love Andy Cruz. I don't have to keep going on about what he does in the ring and what he doesn't do and his achievements outside the ring, and he's already got a belt after 5 fights, blah, 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 blah. However, the guy that he's fighting in Omar Salcido, me and Dave gave a bit of a review of him a few months ago. He got on the ring midweek on a Pro Box card against Chris Colbert. Now, we wanted to see what was left of Chris Colbert, and we came to the conclusion that he hasn't got it anymore. It wasn't there anymore. A prospect, how good Colbert was back in the day, he needs to go away and reevaluate what it's all about. But he got in with this Mexican guy, and he was beat up for 9 rounds, didn't want to be there and was stopped. This guy can punch, this guy can box. Again, Eddie's put on a dangerous fight here for Andy Cruz. But I'm so high on Andy Cruz. I'm still high on Andy Cruz after what I've seen in this last fight. It's obviously with Bozy Ennis now, training him to do different things. Now, here's the SP day. This is how I see it goes. If we get the Andy Cruz to get into the ring with Salcido and box for 10 rounds, he schools him. He possibly might stop him late. He wins by unanimous decision. That's a fact. For me, that's a fact. If Bozy Ennis tells him to go in there and trades on the inside, hooks with a Mexican hooker, he could go terribly, terribly wrong. Terribly, terribly wrong. I've got faith in Andy Cruz getting the job done, but I've said on him many times before after that last fight, he was on the LA card. I don't like him trading on the inside because he got caught with a couple of silly shots and he's going to come across a guy, i.e. a dangerous Mexican who can punch. Doesn't mean he's always going to be able to take the power. So I want to see Andy Cruz do what Andy Cruz is best at. He's fucking box. You can't land on the guy. He's in full flow. He's beat Keyshawn Davis twice in the Olympics, in the amateurs. He's bound to fight him again. He's got his number, I believe. But he's mixing it up now. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do, Dave. I'm kind of worried, but I'm kind of confident at the same time that Andy Cruz will get the job done. So before you jump in, mate, I'm going to make my prediction straight away. Andy Cruz to win by unanimous decision points. I don't want him trading. I really don't. But if he does, I'll just keep your fingers crossed it comes through it. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you. We've spoken about him previously during our review of the year, and you said you wanted to see him out a few times this year, and it's not a bad sign to see him out in January, to be fair. So you may get your wish, and deservedly so. This is a step up in class from his previous opponents, and and fair play. This is what he needs. I'm with you. It all depends on what Andy Cruz's game plan is going into this fight. For me, we wasn't fans of the way that he performed in his last fight. Thought the tactics were all wrong, and we're hoping that's not the way he goes in his career, because he is better than that. He's an elite boxer. He's an elite amateur. He doesn't need to get in and start trading. He's got nothing to prove when it comes to taking silly shots. He didn't take silly shots in the amateurs. There's no need for him to take silly shots in the pros.
Great.
So I'm with you. I hope he goes back to type, reverts back to type. And yes, there's jeopardy in this fight because Salcido can bang, and he will be game, and he will put it on Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz doesn't need to be macho in this fight. Andy Cruz needs to do what he does best, and box him. And if he does box him, he boxes his head off, frustrates him. He can really set the world alight if he wants to, and that's what I think he should do. Let's hope that that's the tactics going into this fight. And I'm with you. I've got to agree with you on this one. I believe that Salcedo's going to come out and put it on Andy Cruz, try and draw him into his type of fight. But I'm hoping, and it's more hope than anything, that the macho-ness and this silliness of taking shots that he should never take, that he never took before, is gone. And they've looked at the tapes back and thought, this is, that wasn't great, and goes back to what we know he can do. And if he does, he boxes to, for me, a unanimous points decision, not a problem. So it all depends on the tactics for me in this one. If Andy Cruz approaches this fight as we know he can, and as we knew him from before, he coasts it for me. So I'm going to go for Andy Cruz on points with you. I have to agree.
Yeah, hopefully. Just quickly on this card, look out for unbeaten super lightweight prospect Ernesto Mercado, ladies and gentlemen. He's 16-0 with 15 KOs. One of Eddie's latest signings for Matchroom. He takes on Pedraza. Pedraza's turning into a bit of a gatekeeper. Obviously, as he's getting older, he's been in with every man and his dog. But it is still a step up for Mercado. He looks special. He's got the skills to pay the bills. Fast feet, fast hands. He's got one punch power. Very, very exciting fight to keep your eyes on going into 2025. That's Ernesto Mercado. So we'll jump back over into the UK, ladies and gentlemen. That's on DAZN, by the way. Obviously, because most is on DAZN, it's a Matchroom card. We've got another Matchroom card here over in Nottingham on DAZN. Dalton Smith, as you can see there, against Walid Huiza. I think you pronounce his name, Huiza, something like that. He's a French guy. These guys are fighting for the vacant European title, obviously vacated by Adam Azim. Now, last time we saw Dalton Smith, Dave, was back in March last year when he fought Jose Cepeda. Stopped him with a great body shot. Again, Cepeda's turned into a little bit of a gatekeeper. The best opponent on Dalton Smith's resume yet. Went in there, took care of him in 5 rounds. Dalton Smith's one of the best lightweights in the UK, along with the rival Adam Azim. Now, I'm jumping straight in here. I'm kind of poo-pooing Walid Uzier. He's obviously Uzier's a French European level opponent. He's getting his shot to. I think he's been a European champion in the past, or he had the silver belt, whatever it was. I think Dalton Smith's too big, too strong, too skilled, too savvy. Hits hard. I think Dalton Smith will take care of Reza. So I've said it there straight away. But now we're in an era of forgetting about. We're trying to change boxing, aren't we? In terms of putting the best fights on, forgetting about protecting the O. The number 1 in Britain versus the number 2 in Britain. Get them together. If you lose, it doesn't matter. You're still young enough to rebuild and go again. Dalton Smith wins here at the weekend. He's done his part of the year. He's done his part. He's got rid of his opponent. He's got the European belt. Adam Azim fights next month, in February. He's taken on a slightly better opponent in Sergei Lipinets, a former world champion. We just saw Lipinets in with Robbie Davis Jr., squeezing past him. Adam Azim beats him. He's done his part of the deal. I don't care what trajectory Dalton Smith's going on next. Let's talk about him, being a number 1 contender to fight the WBC champion in Puello. Forget about that, because Devin, I just mentioned earlier there, Dave, Devin Haney's a champion in recess. He'll want that belt back. He'll get that belt back, and then he'll fight Ryan Garcia for that belt. So you're not getting any title shots. Don't go down that road. The fight the boxing fans want to see, and even the casuals that are starting getting to know the name of Adam Azim, who's his best opponent for him to face, the sound bites of Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith wins here. Adam Azim wins in February. Going into, end of spring, into summer, we do Dalton Smith versus Adam Azim. It's the fight everybody wants to see. We want to see who the best lightweight is in the UK. Obviously, we've got Jack Catchell was ranked as number 1, but forget him, he's on a different sort. He's trying to go for world titles. But we need to get these two together. We need to get these two together in 2025. We don't want to go down a Ricky Hatton Jr. Witter route when it never happened. We don't want to go down Kell Brook and Amir Khan when they fought far too late. We still don't know who the best is. Yes, we've got the fight, but we still don't know who the best would have been back in the day when they were both in their primes. Let's do it now. We could have a fucking trilogy between the 3 of them. It is the fight to make. But Dalton Smith going into the fight, mate, because I've kind of poo-pooed Walid Uzier. I think Dalton Smith would be far too good for him, and he stops him. He stops him with another body shot. He likes a body shot, as old Dalton. He stops him in round 6. So, you don't have to go into the Adam Azim thing, but I'm high on the fight. I think most people are, like yourself, are high on the fight. How do you see this one going, mate? And am I talking crackers to be talking about Adam Azim next?
No, you're not. I mean, whenever we talk about one or both of these guys, their names come up. It's their names are entwined at the moment. And you have that. You mentioned getting the guys there, Brooke, Khan. You know, you don't, very rarely mention one without the other. And, these two could be that guy for each other. And I said a couple of months ago, maybe even more than that, maybe half a year ago, that when this was first touted, I didn't think Adam Azim was ready. I feel like Ben Shalom not putting him in for that fight straight away was probably right. He comes through Lipinets on the 1st of February, and especially how he performed against Zahara Davis. I think they're ready. I think this brewed this fight up nicely. Will it happen straight away? I'm not sure. I feel like they may try and get a world title and maybe fight for that. But like you said there's a lot of obstacles in the way, and them obstacles can mean that this fight may never happen because they go up and shoot for the stars against these type of guys, your Haynes and Garcias and that, take a couple of losses and, the fight might happen. So this is the time for me to have it. But then, yeah, they have to get through their fights first. I'm with you. I don't see a lot of danger coming from Awizza. Is it Awizza? Awizza.
Your guess as good as mine, mate. You're just as bad at pronouncing surnames than I am.
Yeah, I'll say Walid. I can say that.
Walid, yeah.
So, but yeah, we have had the banana skins for European titles before. Can it happen? Yes. Do I think it happened? No. The only thing I think that you mentioned there that Dalton Smith's not fought since March. I'd like him to be a bit more active. Again, being out in January would suggest that can happen. You're going to at least have 2 this year. If you're out in January, I would like to think. But for me, Dalton needs to be a little bit more active. 1 fight a year is no good for him, especially he's coming into his prime. He may even be in his prime. It's his best years. So I'd like to see him more active here. I think he's going to make a statement in this fight. I think he comes out and absolutely smashes this guy. Like you said, head, body. He's spiteful, Dalton Smith. Wants to do damage. I think he stops this guy, Walid, in round 4.
Yeah. And on that, Dave, as well, when Adam Azim was the quickest fighter to win the European title, they were talking about doing Dalton Smith versus Adam Azim for that title. Obviously, Adam Azim, Team Azim, or Shalom, made him vacate that belt and do the O'Hara Davis fight. So we could get it again. We could get the fight that we wanted again. Dalton Smith versus Adam Azim for the real, the recognised European belt, the EBU one. So, yeah, as you said, mate, they've both got to come through their fights this weekend and obviously next month, and we'll see what happens. Just fingers crossed. So, you never know. You never know. But good luck to Dalton on the weekend. Right. I don't think this is co-main. It might be the third one up or co-main. Ellie Scotney versus her Kiwi opponent in Mia Mutu. Ellie Scotney, mate. She's 9-0. She's front-footed. She's exciting. She's got a massive gas tank, but she's never stopped anyone.
No.
I watch Ellie Scotney and I'm amazed how I know there's 2-minute rounds, 10-2s. There's not enough time for knockouts, but we see girls with resumes that do sort of stack up. Ellie Scotney's an exciting fighter. She's a front-footed fighter. She just throws like fuck. She throws in volume, punches in bunches, but she just can't seem to stop anybody, which I find really strange. However, she is the champion. She's got 2 of the belts. And this fight of the weekend, I've been having a nosy at this Kiwi girl, Mia Mutu. She's 20-0. She's got 8 stoppages on her record. Yes, the level of opponent, again, isn't great. Can't be helped in the women's division. But her last win was a stoppage against Shannon O'Connell. And anybody remember Shannon O'Connell? She's been around for a long time. She's won national belts in Australia. She lost to Ebony Bridges in a fight, a clash. They hated each other. So there's kind of credence there. But this is a big girl. And this is a girl that does carry power. Now, I remember when we done Lauren Price against her Becky Mateus recently, and I said it was rubbish matchmaking, shouldn't be in the ring with her. She has got knockouts, and there could be jeopardy there. Lauren Price went away, blasted her out. Ellie Scotney, I don't think is in the same bracket as Lauren Price in terms of skill set. She's a completely different fighter. But something here tells me this could be a decent fight. Again, this could be decent matchmaking from the shallow pool available, Dave, from Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. Because this girl, if you go back and have a look at some of her fights, yes, there's not a lot of jeopardy, but when she has been caught, she just bounces off her. She's a big girl. She likes walking forward, and she sits down the punches as well. Nobody's really tested Ellie Scotney. Nobody's really thrown back. They're like sitting ducks to Ellie. She comes forward and throws like fuck and wins nearly every round. She's excited, but she hasn't got any stoppages. There's a little bit of jeopardy here, maybe more jeopardy here. They're for the world title belts. This girl's 20-0. I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's hard to sort of wax lyrical about opponents you don't know because you always want to see champion versus champion. But I think there may be a bit more of a test for Ellie Scotney here than there was for Laura Price in her last fight. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Listen, it's very easy to be hoodwinked by the records in the women's. This has happened so many times before where we've
help me sell it. We're talking to girls here, but I get your point.
I'm going to come on to Ellie Scotney because I was listening to, I think, Buncey over Christmas and whatnot. He was talking about Ellie Scotney and the fact that she ain't any stoppages, and they were sort of saying that it's the way she throws shots, and she does throw shots very, very hard. They're talking about like once she gets one, then she'll they will come because she sets up her shots very well and whatnot. And it's and they say that she hits so hard that the record of no stoppages is sort of
it's odd.
Yeah, odd. But they people that have worked with her and whatnot say that it's coming. So hopefully it will come this weekend. But like I said, like you said, she's a very good boxer. She's got a very good engine. She throws lots of shots. I'm surprised at the amount of shots that she throws, that she hasn't even got any TKO victories.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm a little bit worried about being hoodwinked by the record. But I want to see a competitive fight, especially in the women's, because the women need it. We talk about the pool.
From what you're saying there, reading between the lines, the question I need to ask you is: Does Ellie Scotney stop Miyamoto?
Not for me, but for me, she wins.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for Ellie Scotney on points. I can't see as much as I listen to other people and the experts and whatnot, and they say that an Ellie Scotney stoppage is coming. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend, so I'm going to go for Ellie Scotney on points.
Yeah, I think the work rate wins.
Yeah,
Scotney this fight, nothing more, nothing less. I think it's the work rate. She's a volume puncher, punches in bunches, doesn't stop coming forward. Tanked a lot. This girl's a lot slower, plods a lot more, but she is easy to hit, but she throws back herself. So it'd be more scoring shots than anything. So yeah, I totally agree. I think it's an Ellie Scotney win on Saturday, mate, by points. So yeah, good luck to Ellie Scotney, mate. Lastly, this has turned into a really good card. I'll say the best till last because this could be a show stealer if you like. The one I'm looking for is obviously Diego Pacheco against Stephen Nelson. I think there's a bit more jeopardy there. We've got here Harry Scarf versus Conor Walker for the British and Commonwealth welterweight belts. So when the British title was up for grabs, Dave, it never lets us down. 9 times out of 10, we always get a great fight. So Harry Scarf, he's got all the straps. Well, he's got those two straps I mentioned, the British and Commonwealth. We last saw him going against Boots Ellis' last opponent, Karen. We saw the levels. Harry Scarf is a very good British level fighter. He went in with Karen and he was schooled for 12 rounds, 10, 12 rounds, whatever. And obviously, Karen got in with Boots and put in a good performance. So we know at the level Harry Scarf's at. Conor Walker, love Conor Walker to death. He's based in the West Midlands, never in shit fights. I didn't think he lost the Lewis Crocker fight. And obviously, he went in against Lewis Ritson not so long ago. I think that was in November, very recently, and he's back out again. He put in a good performance against Ritson there, and he's got his just desserts. He's fighting for a British title.
Yeah,
and as I said there, British titles aren't shit. Conor Walker's not shit. 2 different styles. Conor Walker's he's a front-footed fighter. He's a stalker. His output wasn't as much as he usually was against Lewis Ritson, so he did change his game plan a little bit there. And obviously, Harry Scarf, he's not that kind of fighter. They both got very similar records. Scarf picks his shots better. He's probably technically a little bit better. He thinks about his work more. As I said, 2 completely different styles, Dave. But the records are here. They're quite similar. Harry Scarf's 13-3 with 3 knockouts. Walker's 14-3 with 5 knockouts. We just mentioned about Ellie Scotney not getting any knockouts. Conor Walker, the way that he fights, unless all of his opponents have got, iron chins, I'm surprised he hasn't got more knockouts on his resume. Obviously, the level of opponents that you're fighting is getting better and better. Scarf's the champion. Does he stay the champion on Saturday night, mate? Because again, this could be a really good card. Eddie's putting a decent. Not so much me and you, but I have heard, on boxing Twitter and radio stations and things like that. A lot of people are complaining about the quality of British fights now. That Eddie and Frank and Ben and all that are concentrating on the Saudi cards. I totally get it, but I think he's putting a decent card with some competitive matches this weekend, abroad and at home. So I'm looking forward to this one, mate. And obviously, you know me, I'm a massive Conor Walker fan, so I'll be in the camp of Conor Walker. But I think this is competitive, Dave. I don't think it's a walking apart for either man.
No, you know what? Of all the fights today we've spoken about, the ones that are coming up, we talked about Pacheco, and you said that this one's got another could be another barnstorm with this one. This one, you know, I know we talk about British title fights, and I think this one could live up to it. I'm looking forward to this fight. I really, really am. We'll talk to Conor Walker. His game as they come. He's a forward fight. He's like you said. He's never in a shit fight. And
he's been rewarded with a title fight now. So
yeah, and so he should.
Just rewards, I'd say.
Yeah, and like you said there, his fight with Lewis Crocker was very, very close. I think I had it by Crocker by 1 round, if I can remember off the top of my head. But yeah, this could turn out to be a really, really good fight, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm with you. I'm in the camp that Conor Walker will be a bit too much for Harry Scarf for me. I think the pressure, the educated pressure from Conor Walker, it may be too much for Harry Scarf. Oh, do I think it's stoppage? No, I'm gonna go for Conor Walker on points. I think that I think Harry Scarf's gonna have his moments. I think early on in the fight, but I think that the pressure of Conor Walker is going to tell down the stretch.
Yeah,
I think Harry Scarf might win the first couple of rounds, and then I think Conor Walker's going to step on the gas, and we'll sort of walk him down, and over pressurize him, and I think it would be enough to win the fight on points. I'm going for Conor Walker on points in a really good fight. I think it's going to be close for the first couple of rounds, and I think Conor Walker's going to edge it.
Agree. I think Conor Walker wins in exactly the same fashion as Ellie Scotney. The work rate wins him the fight. The output, the volume wins him the fight. Doesn't hurt Harry Scarf. Doesn't put him in any sort of jeopardy where he's on the floor, rocks, or anything like that. I just think the constant work rate, the constant gas tank, the coming forward, the stalking will be enough over the 10 or 12 rounds, whatever it is. I think it's 12 rounds to the British title. So yeah, Conor Walker to get the job done. Exactly the same thinking as you, mate. So yeah. That's our 6 fights, ladies and gentlemen, that we've previewed and predicted. And when we talk about predictions, we go on to our new part of the show, where for the second week now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The weekly wager. Now you see there, I've put the weekly wager. Now we started off saying Holland's weekly wager. When we've changed it now, Dave messaged me in the week, and he has to elaborate now why he wanted it changed. So he came up with a good idea. He says, look, whoever wins at the weekend, they get to pick the weekly wager, and that's fair enough. I gave it to him because he was the king of the prediction leagues. So I'm feeling, he may be able to correct me. I'm getting the feeling because he didn't get a win the first week. He's not getting wins, and he may look a bit of a twat. So he wants me to take it. Brother, why did you want to change it?
I was just at work, and I just thought of an idea because we always think of ideas for the pod. And I was just thinking, listen, we do this every single week. So it's 56 weeks. It'd be nice for both of us. It's both our podcast. We share the podcast, and there's a little bit of a ring to it. And I put the winners' weekly wager, but so there was all the doubles. So I just thought it'd be a nice idea. I'll put it to you, and we go from there. But I think the person who wins the week the week before should get to pick the weekly wager. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. So no, I'm not worried. I'll pick it for 52 weeks if you want, and. But I just thought it'd be nice if we shared the glory or the misery. Yeah, which way you look at it.
I've got a confession to make, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if I'm only doing this 2 weeks, and already I've made a major cock up, I don't know how I managed to do it. So I'm going to do something here today, which I've never ever done in my life, and I plan to never ever do ever again. I'm going to steal from charity. I can see all the face putting. What's he fucking talking? We haven't stealing from charity. What a cunt! What's he doing? I'm going to steal from the charity. However, we will double that money, and you'll see why. So last week we done Caroline Dubois. They picked Caroline Dubois to get the job done, knockout, etc. We're doing it points, we're turning points into pounds. So for some reason, I got £1 out of my pocket and said, "Here we go. There's £1 for Caroline Dubois." Obviously, Dave's going to match it. He put £1 in there, so there was £2 in the pot. I came away thinking, why have I just put £1 down? Caroline Dubois got a draw. She didn't win. And her opponent didn't win. So it was a none and void contest. So I gave money away for nothing. So I've got to stick by the rules. I'm taking that away. I'm taking that money away. I'm sorry, guys, but as I just elaborated to, we're putting £6 into the pot as replacement because Dave last week predicted Ali Akhmedov to get a knockout against his opponent in Malcolm Jones. You got the fighter right. You got the method right. Unfortunately, didn't get the round right. So that's 3 points. That's £3 from me.
Yeah.
£3 from Mr. Holland. So I took 2 out and I put 4 back in. So the charity of your choice, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the year is £6 richer. I haven't done too bad there, Dave. But
No.
yeah, sorry for stealing from charity, but I have made it up. But I don't know how I made that boo-boo. You never noticed either, did you, to be fair?
No, I didn't, mate. No, but and we spoke about the fact that Caroline Dubois didn't realise it herself and celebrated the win.
That's true.
And we done the same. So what do we know?
Yeah, fair enough. So we've gone through 6 fights. We both made our predictions. Dave won the prediction league last week, so it's only right that he does this week's weekly wager. But there's always one. There's one fight there that he can guarantee. Well, 99.9%. He will guarantee that won't let you, won't let us, and won't let the charities down. Your weekly wager for this week, Dave. Where's the money going? Who's the guarantee? Who is the banker?
Kim Song-jun. Whatever his name is.
Could you imagine?
No, it has to be.
That's probably from charity. That's probably from charity.
So that would be, yeah. If I'd have gone for him to knock out Naoya Inoue, then that would be. But no, my weekly wager has to be Naoya Inoue against the Korean fella. I don't want to say his name wrong again because I don't want to come across as a racist. But yeah, against him, it's got to be done.
Yeah. What round you can remember?
I said round 2.
Round two. So that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think he's spot on there. Just hopefully he gets the round right, and it should be a lovely 6 points. We turn into £6 from Dave, obviously by me. So it'll be a lovely £12 in the pot going into the weekend. But yeah, sensible choice, and I think you're going to be right, mate.
Yeah.
That was our weekly wager for this week. Hour and 30 we've done. How have we done an hour and 30? And we only had 2 fucking fights to review.
Oh no! Well, I think we spoke about fucking Ryanair for at least 20 minutes. Mickey's mum. We've gone through it all this week.
Mickey's mum, yeah. Any plans to go around and see her lately, mate? Or then we know.
I don't really make plans to see birds like that. They're booty calls. You know what I mean? Just turn up.
Fucking yeah. We will know if he's listening this weekend. But talking of weekends, mate. Anything else to add? Any plans at the weekend? Let us all know before we say our goodbyes and fuck off.
Only Arsenal Chelsea on Sunday, mate. The women's got that on Sunday, and yeah. Other than that, mate, I ain't got a lot on. Yeah, no plans, mate. It's a long month, you know. When it comes to money, I got paid before Christmas. I get paid monthly, so it's been 6 weeks since I've had a wage. I know it's just
unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. He's a millionaire sitting there. I wouldn't mind being a pound behind him, I tell you.
I bloody wish. The more money you earn, the more money you spend.
No, that is true. That is true, mate. Oh, I nearly forgot. I did write it down in my notes. I started about talking about it. Forgot all about it. Now I'm back on it. Explain why you were watching Darren Till versus whoever at the weekend.
Oh.
I know there was nothing on, so I kind of get it to an extent. But...
No. I was downstairs watching the telly with my missus, and she put something shit on that I didn't want to watch. So I came upstairs, and Alfie was in my room watching it on my telly in my bedroom. So I sort of sat with him. And that's the only reason why I watched it. Now, I see the fight before the main event, and I've never seen fundamentals like it. Honest to God. It's got to be the worst boxing I've ever seen in my life. They're throwing punches with their chins right in the air.
Worst what?
Boxing up. Worst fighting. Worst. I don't even know what it was. It was god awful, mate. They're turning their backs on each other when they're throwing punches. It was fucking awful. And then obviously I got onto Darren Till. Now Darren Till's fighting this Anthony Taylor. Honest to fucking God, it was like a fucking heavyweight versus a middleweight. The size difference was ridiculous. And yeah, so do you know what? I was talking to Alfie's coach about it when we was in the gym on Sunday. Someone's gonna get really hurt in this. Like I don't know what the training is or what's going on with these guys, but they're not being trained to protect themselves, man. Someone's gonna get killed in this misfits thing. From the way that they're not defending, you've got to defend yourself at all times. The minute they're under fire, they turn their backs. It's honest to God, and then it goes into the crowd, and you see grown men that you would usually see at the boxing with beers, and they're all and they're not with kids. They're not all with kids. Like They're getting crowds of men that are going to watch it. I come away from it for a while flabbergasted. I was talking to Alfie about it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Honest to God, mate. And like I say, I never actively went to watch it. It was on, so I watched it. But for anyone
that, mate, to be honest, I said last week, if it was on some sort of undercard, obviously they're both, MMA fighters, so they are martial artists. They do strike, but because it was on a Misfits X series, whatever you call it, it wasn't aimed at a boxing audience. That's a fact, because as you just said, it's not boxing, it's fighting. They're turning their backs. There's no rules involved. It's not for me. But what obviously I didn't watch it. No, that's the God honest truth. But what going through boxing Twitter today, and obviously something Mickey McGrath put on the WhatsApp chat, was ex-footballer Wayne Bridge getting involved in the ring with KSI, who used to play FIFA. I mean,
Wayne Bridge has pulled out this evening. He got in the ring with KSI, and KSI started talking about John Terry smashing his ex-wife and all that. It was bang out of order, and Wayne Bridges pulled out from that because of that. Them comments that I can't be associated with stuff like that, and rightly so. He was going, how have you let JT smash your ex and all that in a ring full of people? 40, like, I don't know how many people were watching, but it was a big crowd. Like, it's bang out of order. So Wayne Bridges pulled out since then, but honestly, mate. Listen, we can't taint our podcast with shit like that.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. We had to cover boxing, not bullshit.
Yeah, correct.
But yeah, I just wanted confirmation of why you had it on. But
no, Alfie was sitting up here watching it. He's a 13-year-old boy. So, yeah.
Just before we say goodbye, I did see the video you sent us on the group of Alfie perfecting his southpaw style in the gym.
Yeah.
See, fair play to him. He's come along well, hasn't he?
He's doing really well.
And Paige the Rage, the fan favourite.
Yeah.
How's she getting on when she's next fighting?
I think they're all.
Yeah. Box, to be fair.
They're all out in March. I think they got their home show in March, so they're all in there sparring and whatnot. It's great to see. She's the only girl in the gym, so obviously they look after her. But she's game as they come. She gets stuck in spars all the little boys and all that.
I love it. What do you know off the top of your head what date it is? Because remember, I booked end of March off to go down to watch the UFC before I realised that UFC were you off.
It would. I haven't got a date yet, but it would be a Thursday. Their shows are usually on a Thursday.
Oh, no, never mind.
But I'll record it anyway.
Yeah. Like we're recording this. And as we're recording this, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye now. So that's the end of podcast episode 94, getting closer to the ton. Like, share, subscribe via YouTube. And obviously, if you listen via your audio feed on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, do exactly the same there. And give us a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. Until next week, have a great weekend. Stay safe. As I always say, enjoy the bloody boxing. Davey boy, peace out, and I'll speak to you in the week, brother.
Take care, me old mate.
And you.